Okay, today সোজা আছে দেখ তো ভিডিওটা হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে Okay, today we will start focusing labor costing. Labor costing. Last class we have discussed material costing. So today we are going to start labor costing. It is one of the most important chapter in your exam. Actually, in SCCA, every chapter is important, but it is one of the important chapter because you can expect at least one question from this. At least means more question maybe comes forward. Okay, so today we actually focus on labor costing. What do you mean by labor costing? Here, the fact is, what do you mean by labor costing? That is wage, payroll, etc., etc. We are not talking about the remuneration. You know the difference between remuneration and wage and salary? Remuneration actually provided to the managerial level, right? But labor forces are provided wage and payroll. We'll discuss later on. Labor costing. In every aspect, when we start any kinds of costing calculation or whenever we start any kinds of behavior of a specific kinds of or particular kinds of cost, our main focus is to control over that, right? So that we can enhance the profit portion. So in this labor costing, we also do the same things. We try to control or we try to squeeze this labor costing. Clear? This particular aspect actually help us to control the cost, squeeze the cost, and it will help to enhance the profit portion. Clear? So if you want to control over the labor cost, first of all you need to know what are the different types of payment. Normally labor cost means there is any kinds of payment to the labor forces, wages, payroll. Clear? As a whole. Now the fact is, if you want to control over this labor cost. First of all, you need to know what are the different kinds of payment that made available in front of the labor or to the labor forces in a business operation. আমাকে ফার্স্ট এটা জানতে হবে, right? So what are the different kinds of payment? First of all, basic means it is also called the standard. Basic means labor forces are involved in doing kinds of activity by agreement basis, by an agreement, and in the agreement they are provided some specific rate. The management actually agree to provide the labor at a specific rate, that is normally basic. Basic is provided both for the standard hour, agreed hour, at the same time basic is also provided for the overtime. Okay, basic is a kind of payment. Then overtime premium. That is, if you involve your labor forces doing any kinds of activity which exceed the normal agreed activity hour or normal hour or standard hour. Suppose, as for example, you made an agreement with your labor forces or with your labor forces to act 9 to 5 p.m. If you involve them doing any kinds of activity rather than 5 p.m. or exceed than 5 p.m., in that case you have to provide them basic. At the same time, you have to provide them extra. Clear? That is overtime premium. Then bonus. You have to provide the labor forces with bonus. That is performance related pay. As for example, you can set a target. That is, within a month, if your labor forces can produce a kind of a specific or a particular thing, 1 lakh, in that case you will provide them a specific or amount or fixed amount of bonus. Clear? So bonus, actually this is called performance related pay. If the labor forces can perform in a particular way, in that case they can be provided some extra rather than this basic and overtime premium. That is bonus. Even here may be incentives. According to your syllabus, incentives means that is, if your labor forces can save some portion of allowed time. As for example, to do a kind of job, you allow the labor forces 10 hours. If they can manage themselves to do the activity in 8 hours, that means they are saving 2 hours. For this saving, they will be provided some kinds of incentive with their payments. We'll discuss later on. Then there may be sick pay. Sick pay. Sick pay means labor forces are provided payment or some kinds of amount at the time of when they are sick. Clear? That is sick pay. Even there may be several kinds of allowances. Several kinds of allowances. Medical allowance, house allowance, travel allowance, etc. etc. So these are the different kinds of payment that organization actually made available to their labor forces. Now our question is, we have to control over these kinds of things. Now we are very much clear about the different kinds of payments, so we can step forward to control over these payments. Clear? Okay. One of the most important segment in labor costing, that is, you have to differentiate direct and indirect cost. Depend upon the criteria. Some labors are directly related to the production process, some labors are indirectly related with the production process. As for example, assembly workers who are operating the machine, they are the direct labor forces. So whatever the payment you made available to these labor forces, these are direct cost, normal sense. And indirect labor, security guard, drivers, then cleaners, maintenance workers, these are not directly related to the production process, but still you have to meet up payments to these labor forces. Clear? So first of all, to control over this cost, you need to make yourself clear what portion of labor payment as a whole is direct and what portion of labor payment is indirect. Even you guys may be confront a kind of example or kind of question in your exam hall. There will be several kinds of payment. From that payment you have to find out the portion which is direct portion or which is overhead portion. Clear? So that's why you have to go through some sequence. First of all, we'll talk about the direct labor. Direct labors. Normally, all kinds of labor forces are provided basic. Basic for agreed hour according to agreement, and as well as basic for the overtime. Clear? Rather than the agreed. Basic provided to the direct labor forces. Basic provided to the direct labor forces either for agreed hour or for overtime, it will always be direct cost. Some exception is there. The exception is if there is any portion of direct cost is idle time payment. Suppose according to agreement, labor need to employ themselves or doing activity, involving themselves in doing any kinds of activity 9 to 5 p.m. 9 to 5 p.m. How many hours? 8 hours. So within 8 hours, whatever the basic they are provided, obviously this basic normally will be calculated as a direct portion of cost. But exception is suppose 10 to 12 hour, 10 to 12. That is this 2 hour there was no electricity. That's why the production is not run forward, production is not operated. Clear? So as labors are agreed or there is an agreement between the management and labor forces, each and every hour labor forces have to be provided, either they are productive or inactive. So idle time means idle time, that is that portion of basic in which laborers remain inactive, unproductive. Clear? So normally basic provided to the direct labor forces for any cases, that will be direct, but if there is any portion of idle time, that will be indirect. Clear? Because this portion of direct cost is provided to the labor forces when they are unproductive. Clear? This is number one. Then number 2, if the labor force is involved in doing any kinds of activity rather than the agreed hour or beyond the agreed hour, unusual time, in that case they will be provided extra rather than basic, which is called overtime premium. Overtime premium. Just think an example. Suppose you have a garment. You are a garment manufacturer. One of your buyer asks you to produce 1 lakh of a specific kind of t-shirt in this month. Clear? But your productivity is not that much. Normal productivity is then not that much. Your buyer asks you to involve your labor forces doing the overtime, and whatever the extra payment, that will be provided by himself. That is when there is particular or specific kind of request from the buyer. When the overtime premium is a specific request from the buyer, that means buyer will provide that. In that case, the overtime is direct. Otherwise, if the overtime premium is normal course of activity normally provided, it's the kind of schedule or it's the kind of agreement with the management, in that case, that is indirect cost. Suppose, as for example, within this month your labor forces involved in overtime, involved in doing any kinds of overtime for 10 hours. Within that 10 hour, 7 hour is normal. In that case, the overtime premium will be indirect, and 3 hours a specific request comes from a particular buyer. In that case, 3 hours premium will be direct. Clear? Then, এটা নতুন আসছে bonus. Normally, bonus is indirect cost. Any kinds of bonus. Bonus means performance related pay. Normally, any kinds of bonus provided to the labor forces is indirect cost, but exception is that exception means if the bonus is providing for a particular job. Bonus is not a ordinary kind of activity. Suppose you involve your labor forces doing a particular job where the agreement is if the labor forces can do that specific job within the minute or within a specific particular time, in that case they will be provided bonus for that particular job, not as a whole. In that case, that amount of bonus is direct. So if bonus is particular, specific for a kind of job, then that is direct. Otherwise, normally bonus is indirect portion of cost. Except this, any kinds of payment provided to the labor forces, sick pay, allowance, etc., all are indirect cost. Except this, all kinds of payment made to the labor forces are indirect cost. তাহলে বোঝা গেল? তাহলে ডিরেক্ট লেবারদেরকে আমরা কি মনে করব? বেসিক direct cost. Exception if there is a portion of idle time. Idle time portion is indirect. Premium normally indirect, but if there is a specific customer request, that portion is direct. Bonus normally indirect, but if the bonus is provided for a specific job, then that is direct. Otherwise, bonus is normally indirect. Except this, any kinds of payment to the direct labor forces will be calculated as indirect portion of cost. Clear? Okay, now think about the indirect labor forces. Indirect labor forces. For indirect labor forces, any kinds of payment, basic, overtime premium, bonus, allowance, shift allowance, etc., any kind of payment always indirect portion of cost. But only for the basic portion, overtime portion, these two, if basic and overtime is provided to the indirect labor forces with a specific customer's request, then that portion is direct, otherwise indirect. Bonus is just like the same. If bonus is provided for a particular job, then that is direct, otherwise normally indirect. Except this, all kinds of payments are indirect cost. So what will you have to memorize? You have to memorize, that is, whatever the different kinds of payment you are going to make available for this indirect labor forces, normally all are indirect portion of cost. Exception kothay? Exception, if any kinds of basic and overtime is provided to the indirect labor forces with a specific customer's request, that portion will be counted as direct. Otherwise, all payments are indirect. Clear? Eita মুখস্থ করার কিছু নাই. And you guys, it is very much easier. You guys just have to memorize this schedule, and in exam hall, the question actually provided you to different kinds of payment to the direct labor forces as well as indirect labor forces. From that portion, you have to find out what portion of those kinds of payments is direct or indirect. Just you have to follow these instructions. Okay, now we'll think about, or we'll talk about the payments. Basic we have already discussed, that is agreed rate pay, agreed rate pay, agreement between the management and the labor forces. Clear? Now this agreement, depend upon this agreement, this basic can be calculated. This basic can be calculated into two different ways. There are two different methods how you can calculate your basic to the labor forces. One is hourly basis, and another is piecework system. One is hourly basis and another is piecework system. These are the two different methods how you can calculate the basic of the labor forces. Number one, hourly basis. Name is hourly basis. That means here management actually make an agreement with the labor forces to provide them a specified rate per hour they have been worked out. That means, as for example, you made an agreement with your labor force that is per hour you will provide them $2. Per hour you will provide them $2. In this case, the labor total payment in a day will be So according to our example, we select, that is, we will provide $2 per hour. So if the labor forces are involved in doing 10 hours of a kind of activity, in that case they will be provided 10 into $20. So the fact is, in this sort of segment, there is no portion of bonus or incentives. There is normally no question about performance. Here the fact is, a specific rate is there. How many works you have been worked for me, I will provide you for that much. Now the thing is, here is a problem. Problem means, when the management actually provide hourly basis of payment, the labor forces are not very much motivated to enhance their productivity, because for productivity they are not providing any kinds of amount. They are providing payment, the hours they have been involved themselves in doing any kinds of activity. That's why here the labor forces are very much motivated to increase the hours in doing any kinds of activity. The same activity it may be possible to complete by individual labor forces in 2 hours, but here they will try to enhance that, because for enhanced portion of time they will be provided payment. No sort of productivity That is, management is not going to provide any kinds of payment for the productivity. So the problem is here, normal productivity is not, labor forces are not motivated to enhance productivity. Rather, they are trying to enhance the hours working. Clear? So to solve this problem, you can go for this piecework system. Piecework system means here, the agreement between management labor forces, that is, laborers will be provided a specific rate for completion of per individual activity. As for example, when you go to the tailor shop and ask them to provide you or manufacture a specific t-shirt or just like the same things, they actually provide you some rate. That is, if they manufacture t-shirt, per t-shirt $10, then এরকম বিভিন্ন রকম জিনিসের জন্য তারা আলাদা আলাদা, they will provide different kinds of rates. So just like that, here management actually provided a specific rate per work. That means here the workers have to complete individual job to have any kinds of payment from the management. So it ultimately motivates the labor forces to enhance the productivity. As for example, per t-shirt is $22. So if the labor forces want $10, then you have to complete at least 5 t-shirts. Complete the job. So it ultimately increase the productivity of the labor forces. Clear? So these are the two different methods how you can calculate the basic remuneration or basic payroll of the labor forces, hourly and piecework system. Now the fact is, this piecework system also can be subdivided into another two groups. Piecework system this piecework system also can be subdivided into straight or guaranteed. And differential. The piecework system depend upon the criteria also can be subdivided into these two subheadings. One is straight or guaranteed piecework system, another is differential piecework system. Think an example: 1 to 5 t-shirt, $2 each, 6 to 10, $4 each. Here management actually earns, or management actually set different rate for different level of activity, but normally higher rate for higher productivity. Normally higher rate for higher productivity. Suppose, as for example, any particular day an individual complete 5 t-shirt, 5 up to 5, 1 to 5. In that case, for each t-shirt he will be provided $2. That means he will be provided $10. But somehow, if he can manage himself to provide or to produce 8 t-shirt, what will be his payment? For 5 t-shirt, first 5 t-shirt, his payment will be $2 each. And after that, next 3, 6, 7 and 8. For next 3, he will be provided $4 higher rate. That means higher rate set it for higher level of activity, higher productivity. So it's the kind of tricks to increase the productivity of the labor forces. So that's why this is called differential. As you are setting different rate for different activity, that's why this is called differential piecework system. Piecework. Why piecework? That is, labor forces will be provided payment only for the work completed. Clear? If the work is not complete, they will not be provided any kinds of payments. That's why this is differential piecework system. Now, straight or guaranteed. Straight or guaranteed. In this segment, normally it is assumed that is labor forces are very much loyal with the organization. So as they are doing activity for the organization on behalf or in exchange organization have to provide some benefit to them. The thing is, suppose for each piecework, the payment is $2 per hour. In normal cases, an individual laborer can complete 5 t-shirts in a particular day. So normally he is provided $10 or more for more productivity. But in a particular day, the labor is not okay. Maybe he is sick. Clear? So the fact is, straight or guaranteed piecework system. Here the management actually provide assurance to their labor forces to provide a minimum payment. Minimum payment means, as for example, suppose $5. Mean pay $5. So in any particular, suppose the piecework rate is $2 per hour. In any particular day, if a individual complete 2 t-shirts, according to rate pay, his payment should be $4, right? But because of this straight or guarantee comes from the management, he will provide a minimum $5. So if according to his productivity his payment is less than 5, he will provide at least this $5. If his productivity is more than, in that case he will provide the more. So in the case of a straight or guaranteed piecework system, there is a guarantee. There is a guarantee of minimum payment or assurance of minimum payment from the management to the labor forces. As for example, just like this. Clear? So this is another example. So this is the different way how you can go for calculate the basic of the labor forces. Now we will go for calculating incentive. Incentives. First of all, you need to know, normally up to this level of example, we calculate basic for the labor forces either in the hourly basis where productivity is not enhanced or productivity is not motivated. Another is differential piecework system where productivity is motivated, right? Now incentive. Incentive actually just like the bonus, it is also performance related. If you perform in a particular way, in that case you will be provided this much extra with your basic or any kinds of payments. That means লেবারের পারফরম্যান্স যদি কোনো একটা নির্দিষ্ট রকমের হয় তাহলে তারা এক্সট্রা পেমেন্ট পাবে, যেটাকে আমরা কি বলছি ইনসেন্টিভস। এখন what are the specific kind or what will be the specific situation? That is, the fact is, suppose labor forces are provided allowed time, which is called allowed. Labor forces are allowed 10 hours to do a particular kind of job. But they are very much efficient, that's why taken. That's why the labor forces took 7 hours to do the job. Now the question is, if you are providing your labor forces according to hourly basis, is this picture is real, feasible? When you are providing hourly basis payment, in that case labor forces are motivated to increase the time, not try to do the kinds of activity less than the provided time. But here labor forces are doing these kinds of things. That means they are motivated some way, and that way is incentive. Incentive, we can calculate incentive in 2 different ways. Incentive can be calculated into 2 different ways. One is L shape and another is raw one. These are 2 management accounting writer. They actually provide some calculative measure how you can provide incentive to your labor forces. According to L shape কি বলতেছে? According to L shape, provide incentive to the labor forces for 50% times they saved. That means, as for example, here the labor forces are saving how much time? 3 hours. 3 hours, and they are activated in doing the kind of activity 7 hours. Normally, as for example, basic is suppose $5 per hour. $5 per hour. So normal cases, in normal scenario, as the labor forces completed the activity in 7 hours, so they will be provided 7 into 5, $35 in total, right? But the fact is, they are performed well. That's why they should be provided some kinds of benefit for their performance, and that benefit is called incentive. According to Halsey, provide incentive to the labor forces 50% the time they saved. Normally their basic will be 35, right? But for the performance, provide incentive. According to Halsey, how much time they should be provided incentive? That is 3 hours. 3 hours by 2, 50%. Then 1.5 hours. Into suppose per hour incentive and basic is same. It may be different, but suppose আমরা ধরে নিলাম same. Then they should be provided 5. তাহলে 1.5 into 5 কত হয়? 15 5 15 75 7.5 হয় না? 7.5 $7.5. So as a whole, they are providing 35 plus 7.5 কত আসে? 42.5. Clear? So first of all, you have to calculate the incentive hour according to some specific kind of writer provided to your question, either Halsey or Rowan. You have to memorize the facts, memorize the rules. But according to Rowan, basic just like the same. Basic just like the 35. But according to Rowan is telling that his incentive should be a proportion of time saved to time allowed. Proportion means time saved to time allowed into time taken. So here time saved how much? That is 3 hours time saved. Time allowed 10 hours into time taken 7 hours. That means in chapter 21 কত আসে 2.1. So Halsey is saying that is 50% of the time saved should be counted as a kind of incentive hour, whereas Rowan is telling not that. It should be a proportion of time saved to time allowed into time taken. So according to that means 2.1 hour they should be provided incentive, and incentive is 5 per hour. So you can calculate that. Clear? Okay, this is incentive. Then another important is bonus. Bonus may be individual, bonus may be group. So when you have to calculate bonus, how much bonus that you are going to pay with a specific individual, in your exam hall there will be a situation created by the examiners. Situation may be, as for example, if the production go beyond 1 lakh, suppose as for example, if the production go beyond 1 lakh, you are the producer of pen. If the production go beyond 1 lakh, in that case the total labor forces will be provided 10% bonus of the extra production. Suppose as for example, you produce 1,50,000. So extra is 50,000. For that 50,000, a portion of bonus to be provided to the total labor forces. In that case, you can find out bonus for the individual, or even it may be group, individual group may be there, even within the group there may be a captain, individual. So situation will be provided. You just have to follow the situation, and according to that way you have to calculate the bonus. But the thing is, if the bonus is provided for individual or a specific job, then that is direct. But if the bonus is normal activity, normal course of action, in that case that is indirect. So this is all about different kinds of payment for the labor forces. Direct, indirect, and different kinds of remuneration calculation process, bonus and incentive. And there may be some kinds of allowances. Allowances is not that much important. Now, here we will go through some important ratios. Number one, labor turnover ratio. Important ratios. First of all, we will talk about labor turnover ratio. What do you mean by this? Employing a labor in a kind of organization is not very much easy way. There are several kinds of or several layers of procedure through which the organization need to go for. Recruitment, selection, training, development, etc. etc. খেয়াল করে দেখো, নরমালি কিন্তু ওই রাস্তা থেকে লেবার ধরে নিয়ে এসে কাজ করানো হয় না। রিক্রুটমেন্ট করতে হয়, একটা প্রসেস, সময় লাগে, সিলেকশন করতে হয়, দেন তাদেরকে ট্রেনিং দিতে হয়, ট্রেনিং দেওয়ার পরে সো there is a particular process, right? And the process means cost. So to employ any labor forces, business organization need to employ amount of cost. So labor, individual labor is very much important for the business organization. Now the thing is, if the labor force, after training completed, you employ labor, 1 year after the labor leave your organization and join in another business organization. He is also trained. He is already trained. So it's a loss for the business organization because you are losing a skilled labor who was initially unskilled. যখন তুমি নিছিলে তখন সে আনস্কিল ছিল, তারপর তাকে স্কিল করতে সময় লাগছে, খরচ লাগছে, সে তোমাকে ছেড়ে চলে গেছে। That's why organization need to know this portion, and this portion actually comes through labor turnover ratio. Ratio হচ্ছে কি? Number of labor by average number of employees. Average number of labor, that is how many or what is the number of labor that leave your organization within 1 year. Suppose as for example 10. Suppose 10. And average number of employees means there will be a number of employees at the beginning of the year and end of the year. You have to count their average. Count means, suppose as for example, beginning there was 100, end there is suppose 80. So you have to count their average. Clear? So by this you can find out labor turnover ratio. The thing is up to 20%. 20%. It can be assumable and it is normal. It is normal that labor forces, if the labor forces are provided high benefit or extra benefit in elsewhere, they will leave their existing organization for extra benefit. Clear? So 20% is normal. But if this is more than 20%, then it is a thing, or it is a thing that organization need to consider, because cost is related there. We'll discuss later on. So labor turnover ratio কি বলে, এটাকে আমরা পার্সেন্টেজ করব, পার্সেন্টেজ। Clear? So if the labor turnover ratio is more than 20%, then you have to consider your strategies. Then you have to think about your strategies. Think about your strategies. What are the fault behind that? Okay. Like you said, কয়টা বাজে দেখো তো
স্যার
কাগজটা দাও, কাগজটা নিয়ে আসো। Ay, Api.
এইটা চলবে একটু
আচ্ছা এখানে দেখো, সরি কই ছিলাম? ও লেবার টার্নওভার। এই যে আমরা বলছিলাম যে if the labor turnover ratio go beyond 20%, the organization need to focus its strategy because cost is there. So what are the different types of costs related to the labor turnover ratio? With labor turnover ratio, there are two different kinds of cost related. One is retaining cost, another is employee
রিপ্লেসমেন্ট
কি জানিস তো একটা
রিটেনিং একটা রিপ্লেসমেন্ট
রিপ্লেসমেন্ট। হ্যাঁ, খেয়াল করো, these are the two different types of cost related with the labor turnover ratio. খেয়াল করো, labor turnover, that means we are talking about the number of labor that has been relieved from our organization, right? Now the thing is, what are the different types of cost related with that? Employee retaining ratio. First of all, in this segment, you have to think yourself, what are the different kinds of reasons that's why your labor force is leaving you. As for example, some other organization is providing higher benefit, extra wage, kinds of extra pension, extra different kinds of benefit. As well, you can say these are the fringe benefit. Fringe benefit. Suppose one of the organization is providing higher basic than you. That means that's why your labor forces are going to that organization. So you have to consider yourself That means if you want to retain your labor forces, ধরে রাখতে চাও, in that case you have to provide that kinds of benefits provided by the other organization. So it's the kind of cost for the organization. ও আমার থেকে বেশি দিচ্ছে, I have to provide that much. So it's the kind of cost. So as a whole, cost of providing fringe benefit, different kinds of benefit. দিতে হবে, দিলে they will be retained. Clear? তাহলে রিটেনিং কস্টের মধ্যে কি কি হতে পারে? এক্সট্রা ওয়েজ, ওভার ওয়েজ, right? Bonus, pension, increasing or evaluating the working condition ভালো করতে হবে. So in every space you have to expense. So these are the employee retaining cost. Employee replacement cost. Replacement cost means your labor force already leave you. The post become vacant. In that case, you have to fulfill the post by new employees. And replacement means you have to go through recruitment, selection, training, development. In every aspect, you need to spend some amount. So, recruitment, selection, training, development. Even first of all, when the employees are involved in doing any kinds of activity, initial stage they will do some wastage or errors. Wastage and error is also kind of cost. Wastage, errors, etc., etc. These are the cost related to the replacement. So in every aspect, either you want to retain your employees or if you want to go through the replacement. So normally replacement costs are more. So you have to evaluate, you have to focus these strategies. Clear? Now, some other kinds of ratios we'll talk about. কতক্ষণ আছে ভিডিওটা দেখো তো, এক ঘন্টার কাছাকাছি। Okay. Then efficiency ratio. Efficiency ratio, here we try to measure whether the involved labor forces or existing labor forces are efficient in doing kinds of activity. Efficiency তাহলে কিভাবে আসবে? Efficient. If you provide them 10 hours to do a kind of activity, if they can do the job or complete the job in 8 hours, that is efficiency. তাই না? 10 ঘন্টা দিচ্ছি, 10 ঘন্টার মধ্যে 8 ঘন্টায় কাজ করে ফেলছে, that is efficiency. যত কমে যাবে efficiency তত বেড়ে যাবে. So efficiency we calculate this by standard hour for actual activity divided by actual hour into 100. Can you দেখো standard hour for actual activity. Standard hour means hours to produce per individual unit. Standard hour. Suppose to manufacture these kinds of pen, normally 2 hours is required. This is the standard hour. Standard hour for actual activity. As for example, you produce 10 pen. In that case, 2 into 10, 20 is your standard hour. But actual hour, suppose as for example, so standard hour আমরা বলতে কি বোঝাচ্ছি? It is assumed by the business to do these kinds of activity, this amount of time will be required. That is standard. Standard hour for actual production. But actual hour, labor forces done the activity. If less than the standard, then they are efficient. তাহলে খেয়াল করো, প্রথমটা যদি এরকম 20 আসে, পরেরটা 10 আসে, then it is 100. তাহলে আসবে কত? 200% discount, না? 200%. So if this is numerator, this is denominator. Log or যেটাকে বলে, বা যেটাকে তোমরা বলো। If the expected hour is more than the actual hour taken, only then labor forces are efficient. তাহলে এটা 100% থেকে শুরু হতে পারে, 10-10. So efficiency start from 100 to over. Then আসো, this is efficiency. Then capacity. Capacity means actual hour divided by budgeted hour. into 100. Capacity represent within the existing labor forces what percentage is used for doing a kind of activity and what percentage or what portion remain inactive. বাংলায় করলে হয়ে দাঁড়ায় যে তোমার যে লেবার ফোর্স আছে তার কত পার্সেন্টকে তুমি ইউজ করতেছো 100% তাহলে লেবার ফোর্সেস তাহলে খেয়াল করে দেখো অ্যাকচুয়াল আওয়ার suppose as for example in doing any kind of activity actual hour is 20 hours and budget hour suppose as for example budget hour 40 budget was 40 actual 20 100 করলে কত আসে 250 মানে হচ্ছে within the existing capacity of your labor forces you are using 50% is a spare there. That means you can involve your labor forces doing some other kinds of activity also. Clear? That is capacity ratio. And then another is production volume ratio. Production volume ratio. This is the multiplication of efficiency ratio in and capacity ratio. If you multiply that, you can find out the production volume ratio. Clear? So these are the three different ratios you guys may be asked to find out in or asked to calculate in your exam. Clear? So these are the important ratios. কত বাজে দেখো তো এখানে কত হচ্ছে